What I did with this old lamp might surprise you. It did me. Why do I want to fix this old junk lamp? Well, I've wondered that myself. But let's see what we can do in fixing this lamp. Join me as I share stories of my life as a kid, bringing junk home and turning it into something useful. Fact is, I'm still doing this today at age 69. To get started with this lamp, the first thing I want to do in any project that I look at is, well, I guess the first thing I decide is if I want to actually tackle it or not. And I've had this lamp for many years, and I want to share a brief history on it. Back several years ago, I had a business that I ran, a restoration business. It started out with just small little projects that I did on my own and things that I found interesting. And in those restoration projects, I was called to a property that was going to be demoed. And this was in one of the buildings. And the owner looked at me and says, "Would you like this old lamp?" I looked at the lamp and I thought, boy, that's almost beyond repair. But I said, sure, I'll take it. So I brought it back, and it's been in my shop for at least 15 years. And I have never unwound this cord before. As you see, I'm working on that right now. You can see the rust falling off of it. But this here old lamp came out of an old building that had been sitting for years abandoned, and it was demoed. Fact is, the very next day after I salvaged this old lamp, I went back to get a couple other things, and the buildings were gone, every one of them. In less than 24 hours, I'm telling you, the buildings were gone. This is all I got. So should I fix it or junk it? I think that this old lamp is worth at least a shot at trying to fix it. Well, coming to a project like this, there's a couple of things I look at, and down here's one of them. You can see that this is extremely rusty, and this whole portion is rusty all the way up to here. I like rusty junk though. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm a piece of old rusty junk. Who knows? But this light bulb here, look at this light bulb. It hasn't been turned out of that socket in who knows how long. That's an old Edison light bulb. That's not a reproduction, that's a real thing. This cap here hasn't been off. It needs to come off so I can get to the components to disassemble it. I don't know what this green glass is. Maybe you do. Let me know what this is. I don't even know what the lamp is. And if I am lucky enough to get this thing operable, looking decent, I'll need a shade. Where do I get a shade? I don't know. But let's give it a whirl. The first thing we do is we need to spray some of the components with a penetrating oil. I use WD-40 or PB Blaster, but this Easy Off works again, freeze off I mean, works really well. But to start with, I'm just going to shoot this with a little bit of WD-40 and see what happens. What you want to do is try to get that so it penetrates into the crevices. I don't know if this is going to work. For Pete's sakes, I've never restored a lamp before. Okay, let's go down here and shoot some in here. How much do we shoot in there? Wonder if there's wasps in there. Hope not. Well, it's kind of late for wasps. Oh, we get in. That's where I'm putting it, right there in that hole. Let's put a little bit here, and a little bit here, a little bit there, and a little bit everywhere. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get all this off though. That's the heck of it. Now what we want to do is probably just let that set a bit and come back to it and let this stuff have a chance. Oh boy, that shot clear over to my Bronco. That's no good. Well, let's let that set a bit and we'll get back with it here in just a little bit. Okay, let's grab a couple of tools, and what I want to do first is try to pop this cap off. I don't know. I don't want to ruin it, but it looks like it's pinched there and there. Now what I'm going to use first is probably just a little bitty screwdriver, and let's see if I can get that to move by just popping up on it. Nope, that's not going to work. I'm going to lay it down. Well, I ought to get that bulb out of there before I bust it. What do you think? Get the bulb out first? That hasn't been out of there. And oh, look at that. That's turning right out. That just really surprises me. Wonder if the thing would still burn. It looked like it would. No, maybe not. I don't know. I'd have to clean this up to actually see if those little filaments are still in there. I'm going to set this off to the side. I don't want it to drop and break. It's probably worthless, but why break it? Okay, let's look at this on its side now. Okay, it's this right here that I want to take off, and I think if I get a little screwdriver and a hammer and I just tap on that, see if it moves any at all. Boy. It's coming. Look at that. Starting to come. Let's get the other side now. I didn't think that would come off, but it sure looks like it's going to. Uh-oh. I never liked it when someone said, uh-oh. There she comes. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's try this again. Oh, hey, it came off. Uncovered in who knows how many years. Let's take a look at the inside. Yeah, I better hit that with some WD-40 or some PB Blaster or something. Well, the next step is to see if this will turn off of this little shaft in here, and I'll have to take a close look at that, and I think that that's going to require my glasses. But oh, yo, wow, that's tight. Let's get some of this in there. Get that soaking up real good. You can't see that, but I'm puddling and pulling that inside this old lamp. This is majorly important to get off. If I break this, then the project's just about done. And I have wires here attached. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut these two things right here out of my way. Hopefully in a way that I don't ruin something. Okay, what I have here is a pair of Weiss scissors. They are very handy for just about any project. I'm going to cut right here. That allows that to come out. And I'll do the same here. And that allows that to come out. Now since I have those wires cut, I can go at it and pull the rest of this wire out. That's not been exposed to daylight in who knows how many years. Now whoop-de-doo, right? Now it's interesting to me. So there you have it, the lamp basically stripped down to its bare essentials. Now I want to save these caps because they are soldered in to this, and I want to just rebuild this part of the cap, which houses this. Boy, that's still got the old ball part in it, doesn't it? I wonder if that would come out. See, I can reuse a lot of this and just take the parts that I need, the essential parts I need, to put this back together so that we have the chain pulls to get these lights going again. What's my next step, Marv? Well, I think what I need to do is get a little wire brush and clean out inside here, and then what I need probably gonna have to do is put a little heat on this in here. Hope I don't burn myself up with all this flammable WD-40 and all this down here, but we'll see. I probably won't. Nah, it'll work. I'll put a little heat in here and maybe that'll turn off. And once this is off, theoretically I should be able to pull some of this stuff apart. That is, as if this is a steel shaft like a lot of lamps are made today. But let me get set up with a wire brush. Okay, I have a little brass brush here, and let's start with this one. I don't think it's going to do much good, but we'll see. Worked a little better than I thought it would. Next step, heat. I'm going to start with my small torch, and well, I hope I don't burn myself up. I shouldn't be doing this, should I? Whoops. Maybe I ought to just let that burn off a little bit. As the fuel's going, it'll quit it, hopefully. Don't do this at home, I'm an idiot. Well, maybe not an idiot, but sometimes I do things that don't make any sense to a lot of people. Especially to my wife. I'm glad she's not here right now. She would be having, well, I don't know what she'd have. Probably a fit or a cow or whatever. But she wouldn't appreciate me doing this, that's for sure. I don't think my boys would either, but you know, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to get the job done. I don't know if this will get this hot enough or not, but we're working on it. You can see what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to get that hot. That metal's pretty thin, so I thought it would get hot enough to maybe turn off, but I just thought of something. I don't have any gloves over here, And I definitely don't want to grab a hold of that because, well, that may scar me for life. I've burned myself enough times during my day. I don't know if this is going to do any good. I need some gloves. I got me some more tools, but I am going to spray this. A lot of times that'll suck that. Ouch! Ouch! That's a little hot when it grips on you. There we go. Now let's see. First thing I'm going to try is the old plier handle trick to use for a special wrench. See if that works. We'll use this crescent. I think I got a big enough one. We're going to use this crescent up here. Oops, no, up here I said. And we're going to see if that turns. Something's turning. Look at that. Is it twisting off? Probably. Now if it does, it does. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do to get the thing done. I wonder now if I use something like this to grab a hold so I can hang on. It just turns. Look at that. Okay. Now you can see that that's turning off in there. A little bit of heat and a little bit of determination goes a long way. Now better look at what I have here. I'm afraid to touch it. Don't want to get burned. So there you have it, the inside of this. Okay. Next step is to see if this comes off. Look at that. That came off. Then this. Lay these parts in the order that I take them off so I don't lose track of how they came off. Isn't that amazing how stuff comes apart? I've been tearing stuff apart since I've been a kid. A lot of times not being able to get it back together. Reminds me of a story once about my dad and carburetors. I don't know that I want to share that story right now, but someday, maybe, because it was quite an ordeal for me talking about it 60 years later. Well, the next step now is to get this threaded into the bottom of that. So how do I get that out without breaking the glass? Let's see if the glass will actually come out of there. If it does, that makes it a lot easier. Hey, I think it will. I don't know what kind of glass this is, but somebody does. Look at that. That hasn't been disassembled in years. And when you're taking stuff apart, you want to pay close attention to details, because once you start cleaning this stuff up, you'll never have those details again. But you see this right here? That tells me the color of what this here base was. It looks like a goldish color to me. I probably should take a picture of that. Nah. Okay, now right here's what I'm looking at. I need to get this shaft out of the base. Okay, I moved over to my vise. I have my shaft clamped into the vise, and you want to use as much of the jaws of the vise as you can so it doesn't turn on you once we start to turn this. I'm going to put some heat down here and see if we can get this thing broken loose without breaking it. Once I get enough heat on here, and if I get this out, then I can clean all the threads up on all the components, making it much easier. I don't know much about casts, but I've always been extra cautious in heating up casts. I'm afraid I'd break it somehow. Look at that, guys. Off. That's a success. Okay, now let me get set up and go to step process number 2. There you can see all the components laid out just the way I took them off. Okay, the next step is to clean off all the loose scaly rust the best you can. And I'm going to start with this tube, and I'll get through this tube and I'll show you how the processes worked, and then I'll do the other component. Let me get geared up here and then we'll get cleaning on this. I want to put gloves on both hands. This wire wheel here really messes with your fingers if you get them too close. I never could figure that out. They say I got thick skin, but I don't. I got pretty thin skin. Let me show you how I clean this up. Okay, you can see as I bring this brush against there, it shines that old metal right up. It's got a little pattern to it. Look at that. Not bad for an old rusty piece of junk, is it? A little primer on there and a little finish, and that'll look like new. Wonder if I should clean out that somehow. Yeah, probably not. We'll see. Maybe. Let me get my gloves. Okay, that's step number 2, is to clean everything up. I'll get back with you when I get it done. Here's the base. Got it all cleaned up, ready for paint. As good as I can get it. This I'll need to clean up a little bit better yet. Here's that rod. I got it all cleaned up, ready for paint. The tube, I showed you that earlier when I was doing it. These little parts, I had trouble with them. They're so delicate and small, but I got it cleaned up fairly good. And the same with this part right here. This part right here has so many little nooks and crannies in it, it's hard to get cleaned up with a wire brush. But I got it good enough. Again, we have this round ball. I'll have to get that polished up somehow. I'm not sure yet how. Maybe a buffing wheel. The 2 rings that was on top of this ball, cleaned up. That's got a little rust in it yet, and so does this one, but it's hard to get in there with a wire brush. And then this here, I think turned out pretty good actually, so we're going to go ahead and go with it. Very delicate, as with this and this right here. And something else I worked on was these right here. This one I can't get to function, but this one here I actually got to work somewhat, I guess. Yeah, there you go. So I don't know if I'll reuse that or not, but that seems to work just fine. And of course I've got this old wiring I've got to figure out what I want to use to replace it. But that's where I am right now. I'm going to get set up and put a coat of primer on a couple of these, and I'll show you the process. Here with my parts, and I will give them a coat of paint, at least the underneath side of them where it doesn't matter much. What I like to use is this Rust-Oleum Rust Reformer. It works really well. Use it on this vehicle back here in different spots and other things I've done in the shop. And quite frankly, I've had good luck with it. It says it instantly converts rust. So let's see. I'm going to paint the bottom of this first. Just give it, what I like to do is just give it a little mist coat. Same way with this, we'll just give out just a little misty coat, and this, and this. We'll get that inside there, do the best we can. We'll get the inside of that, around the outside. Now what I need to do, if I got the patience, is just walk away from this for a bit and let it dry. Okay, what do you think? I went over to my sink and used a scratch pad, some degreaser, a little warm water, and that turned out pretty decent, didn't it? Look at this ball. That doesn't even look like the same ball, does it? But these 2 pieces I'm going to call complete. It's a little degreaser and some elbow grease and a scratch pad, and away you go. That's how it's done, I guess. I have this piece here that had these fastened to it. I went over and purchased some new ones, and the new sockets are much smaller than the old, so I was not able to reuse this. So what I have to do is attach this base to there. It'll be like that, one on each side. And the way I'm going to do that is I purchased a little bit of this hollow tubing. It's very common in most hardware stores. And what I'll do is I'll put that through there like that, and then turn this on. And this has a little set screw that goes right in there. Oh, here it is. I was going to say I had a little set screw. Take that set screw, put it right in here to tighten that up. Then I'll string the cord up through the center of the lamp, come down through here and out here, and will attach to the 2 lugs on the new socket. The gold one's always the hot, the silver one's always the neutral. Ask me how I know that. It's not because I'm smart, it's because I just looked it up. And then this will attach, I'll just show you. This will attach on there like that, and then I can put the new bulb on and it'll be just like the old, except better. Okay, let me bring in here and show you what I've got accomplished. I got one side on, it works. And I think I got that snapped in the way it's supposed to be. It looks like it could go just a little bit more, right there maybe. And I've got the wiring figured out up here. The other side I don't have on because I broke it. And I had to go get another one. Now it's drying. I painted it like I did this. But that's what we're going to have right there. You want to see it operate? I tested it. And it does work. So let's get this plugged in. Hope the sparks don't fly. No, they didn't. You don't want to touch them wires. Went across the alley and picked me up a bulb. This is similar to the one that came out of it. Very closely matching. This is the old bulb, this is the new, and this is an LED bulb, and it's called a vintage, so that it shines and gives light similar to what a vintage bulb would give. It's considered to be a 60 watt. What do you think? Now all I got to do is get the other side going and we're good to go. What do you think? I'm getting excited. Well, it fought me the whole way, but we're going to call this project complete. I need to go online, see if I can find a shade that would fit this, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. If you got some ideas, let me know. But this is it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.